During humanity's expansion into the Milky Way galaxy after the Unification War on Terra, the vast forces of the Emperor of Mankind were organized into a principal fleet known as the Principia Imperialis. It was its job to reconquer humanity's lost worlds. Commanding it was of course the Emperor himself. However, as the Great Crusade spread across the Segmentum Solar, the need for more formations created a number of different forces which later became known as Expeditionary fleets. And with that said, I want to welcome you guys back to another 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about the Expeditionary fleets of the Great Crusade. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. What I try to do is I read you the lore, and then I connect it to some part of the hobby, whether it's a painting tutorial, a terrain tutorial, or just a showcase video. In today's video, we're actually going to, since we're talking about the Great Crusade and we're talking about expeditionary fleets, specifically the Emperor-led ones, I thought it would be a good idea to actually paint up some Adeptus Custodes, since the Adeptus Custodes were actually marching alongside the Principia Imperialis protecting the Emperor. So stay to the end of the video if you guys want to get that cool painting tutorial. If you guys have any suggestions for other topics of 40K that you guys would like me to cover, whether it's a question or you just want me to expand on a certain topic in the 40K universe, or even like a painting tutorial or a specific terrain tutorial, let me know in the comment section below. If you guys enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, tell your friends, and you can support us on Patreon. The link is in the description. It's just $1 a month. But with all that said, let's get into 40 facts on the expeditionary fleets. These new expeditionary fleets were given over to the trusted and powerful generals that were appointed by the Emperor himself at first. Later, after the discovery of several of the Primarchs in the early stages of the Great Crusade, the Imperial fleets were divided into three main thrusts across the galaxy, one commanded by Horus, the other by Ferrus Manus, and the last one by the Emperor himself. In order for these forces to be effectively supported and their movements across the galaxy tracked to some degree of accuracy, each of the expeditionary fleets were designated a number by the War Council. Jumping ahead to the end of the Great Crusade in the 31st millennium, some 203 standard years after it began, there were 4,287 primary expeditionary fleets engaged upon businesses of enforcing imperial compliance and expanding the control of the Imperium across the galaxy, as well as 60,000 secondary deployment groups involved in regulating compliance or imperial occupation. A further 372 expeditionary fleets were regrouping or refitting in the Sol system or other imperial hub star systems or resupplying as they awaited new orders. This brings to a grand total of over 4,600 primary expeditionary fleets and over 60,000 smaller secondary deployment groups. And that huge number of over 60,000 secondary deployment groups really highlights how the composition of each of these fleets was not fixed. The various fleet groups, Imperial Army regiments, auxiliary troop formations, and even Space Marine legions that made up the fleet could come and go over time as prevailing strategy dictated. However, the only thing that remained constant with these fleets was the designated number that they got. And while most never held any particular significance other than organization, some became famously associated with specific Primarchs or other prestigious leaders to the Imperium. For example, the 12th Expeditionary Fleet became ubiquitous with the Primarch of the Ultramarines Guilliman, but then you had expeditionary fleets like the 28th Expeditionary Fleet, which was made famous not just by the Thousand Sons Primarch Magnus the Red, but also the Emperor's Children Primarch Fulgrim. Subgroups of these expeditionary fleets might have even been operating at the same time led by these two Primarchs. The true significance of the numerical designation of the expeditionary fleets was highlighted when it was applied to worlds conquered by its forces. For example, the Imperial world, initially known as 6319, was the 19th world discovered by the War Master Horus's 63rd Expeditionary Fleet. It was therefore possible for the Imperium's administrators, no matter where they were in the galaxy, to plot the movement of a specific fleet by the worlds it encountered in chronological order. While all of the original expeditionary fleets had been assembled in Terran space by the Mechanicum, by the height of the Great Crusade that had been dispersed throughout the Milky Way galaxy to reunite all of the human-settled colony worlds under the Emperor's rule, and to bring his dream of a united human race dominating the stars to fruition. Every single one of these expeditionary fleets were given the broad goal to bring human-settled worlds into the Imperium by diplomacy if possible, but by force if necessary, and to cleanse any xeno-species from the galaxy who represented a threat to humanity. But as almost all intelligent alien species encountered by mankind had proven hostile, outright genocide just became the standard mode. The fleets were also tasked with a secondary mission of exploring the galactic wilderness following the terrible anarchy of the Age of Strife, so that the new frontier would be opened up for human settlement and resource extraction in the formerly virgin regions of the galaxy. This is why written inside the command bridge of most battleships was a high Gothic phrase that was translated to reunite mankind and conquer any planet with a cute face, thin waist, and a big behind. While the Emperor hoped that most human civilizations would willingly accept reunification because of all of the benefits interstellar unity offered, he knew that many human worlds would forcefully reject Imperial compliance. As such, each expeditionary fleet was a potent military armada, usually under the overall command of a high-ranking officer of the Imperial Army who bore the rank of Lord Commander, and the expedition's fleet elements were commanded by an officer with the rank of Master of the Fleet. Additionally, each of the Emperor's Primarchs was given command of an unusually large expeditionary fleet to which was attached the main body of a Space Marine Legion as well as substantial starship and Imperial Army assets. These expeditionary fleets, which were quite rare since the majority of the Great Crusade's fleets possessed no Astarte contingent at all, usually undertook the major thrust into a completely new area of the galaxy. Smaller fleets with less command capacity would then follow in the major fleet's wake, branching off to ensure Imperial compliance on worlds that presented less human or Xeno resistance than those faced by the fleets carrying the Astarte complements. Kind of like Tyranid Hive fleets. That's kind of interesting. Several Primarchs were still known to split off smaller units of Space Marines from their main fleet to accompany the smaller expeditionary fleets that were otherwise lacking in support. In such situations, the ranking Space Marine officers served as the Fleet Lord's commander, since the Astartes always assumed command over normal troops in any military situation. And as you guys can see from the lore of the expeditionary fleets, they were so diverse that they are extremely customizable. GW actually wants you to create your own expeditionary fleet or a subgroup of an expeditionary fleet. If I were to create a subgroup, it would definitely come from the first expeditionary fleet, and it would have Adeptus Custodes. And I am just saying that because we are about to paint some. The Adeptus Custodes that I'm going to be painting today are actually not mine, or they're not for me. They are for the Sound Alchemist. If you guys have been following along his solo videos, he is starting an Adeptus Custodi army/contingent for his Imperial army. So they're going to be fighting alongside either his Blood Angels or his Celestial Sons. And he just bought a box of the Veritas Praetors, and he asked me if I wanted to paint them. And I said, of course, because he doesn't want to go with the traditional gold color scheme. He wants to do his Celestial Sun color scheme, which is a white, black, and red, I think it is. And that's what I'm going to do today. Now, I know I'm not going to be able to get all three models done today, so this is going to be kind of like a vlog for the entire week of me painting these guys, and every single episode I'm going to include a lore portion, and then we're going to go back to the painting of these guys, and this is just so that I have content for you guys to watch every single day, because sometimes these painting projects take a long time, and I don't want to leave you guys hanging for like 2-3 days while I work on stuff, because that's what happened with the Orc Rock. It took me way too long to build, and then you guys were left with no lore or no videos. So moving forward, I'm going to create lore videos, and then I'm going to attach kind of like a painting vlog or a showcase video or something like that. So don't worry, we're going to complete the entire project probably at the end of the week, but for right now we're going to focus on the bikes. The prep for this project is simple. I'm going to paint each part of the model separate, which means that the bike and the rider will not be glued together. Now, the bottom of the model gets hit with a matte black primer, and then once that's dry, I flip it over and hit the top with a light gray spray paint. Once the spray paint has dried, it's time to solidify the white armor by using a heavy dry brush technique of white. I used the actual GW white, the white scar white. And as you can see, this leaves the gray undertone, but makes a really good highlight of the edges. And after all, it is just all white, so to the eye, like a quick glance, you're not really going to notice too much of a difference. Next, all of the metal parts get painted black. When it comes to painting metal parts, I always like to paint the core of it a solid dark color and then highlight it with whatever metallic I'm using, whether it's copper or silver. Because usually the metallic color tends to steal the spotlight from the rest of the model's colors. It's just the natural nature of metallic, it like shines. Here I'm applying the metallic silver highlights, and then as you can see, it's a darker tone, so the metallic is more dumbed down. Once that is done, it's time to pick out the gold bits like the eagle and the aquila. And then once those are done, I hit the model with Nolan oil wash and clean up any excess with a piece of tissue. Really simple model. And this is the finished model. I actually really like how it came out. Like I told you though, painting white is awesome because there's no need to highlight really. If you are highlighting white, it almost feels like it's a fool's errand just because it's already popping. Like the point of a highlight is to make it pop, and then you're doing it on top of white. Yeah, I really liked how this came out. And tomorrow's vlog video, I might add some wear and tear, do some like chipping and stuff, because I know some other of his models have it, but I have to look up to see how that would look on a white armor. So comment down below if you guys can help. Like, should I just do black chips with a little bit of metallic? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you guys have suggestions for any other topics of 40K that you guys would like us to talk about, ask, and I will try to create a video for you. Like I said, the painting tutorials are not necessarily going to be connected to the vlog, or sorry, the painting vlog is not necessarily going to be connected to the lore portions of the video, but just so that I can produce content every single day, I will be doing this in this fashion for a while. That way I can embark on like larger projects and take you guys along, and then get feedback from you throughout the project instead of completing the project and then getting comments in the comment section that could have been really helpful if I would have done it step by step with you guys doing it with me. So I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, if you could put my freedom back in any